when you hit your spend limit in Google Ads, because if you're doing a good job and the client's doing a good job, that's the other important thing. If they're
Right.
running a good business with a good product, you can actually get to your max spend in Google Ads relatively quickly. And then it's a point where you can't spend anymore. And the client's like, well, get us more. And it's like, well, where do you come from? And you could double your client every year for 5 years. They love you. But as soon as you hit that maximum clip, they're going to be going, wow, do we need another agency? Even though you've done a splendid job. And this is the problem.
If the business leaders want to grow every year, maybe you're great at, going from 0 to maybe let's say 100K, and then maybe like from 100K to, let's say, I don't know, like a few 100K. But then maybe like if they want to try to reach 1 million, you can't just do that with Google Ads, depending on the industry, of course, because there are limits. Then you have to look into other channels and so on. So I think that you have to be strategic, but I think that to avoid the scope creep and maybe kind of like noise around you, at least what I found was success, at least somewhat successful, and it's not, I'm not testing it at a massive scale at all. But I would say finding non-competing specialists, like, could be freelancer, contractor, someone maybe who's, really competent in this and who aligns with your value. And then maybe get them to work on those like non-core channels. That's because like then you don't have to develop, process documentation. You can share it in terms of how we work, basic structure, but you don't have to develop a specific checklist on, how you optimize certain things on Pinterest, especially let's say if your guy's like doing like spending 100K a month on ads doing Pinterest, who's an expert at this,
So if you don't in-house it, so you essentially become a project manager for the client. The client might not even be aware that this Pinterest person is not your employee, which is fine. So you're adding value, but the risk is then if you're contracting or using freelancers that they leave and they take that expertise with them. It's that tricky balance, isn't it? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to it. I think the overarching thing for me is control. So you control where the client goes because you're prescribing it. So instead of one client turning up saying, I want Twitter ads, another one turns up saying, I want Reddit ads. And before you know it, you've got 20 services. I think it's more of a case of stepping back and saying, what would suit the majority of our clients to help them scale or become more efficient, or for us just to deliver more value? And what can we pre-sell or upsell or cross-sell to them to control that? And then this might drive a wedge into the agency, because then you start finding edge case clients that don't fit any of that, but you can see them becoming an issue in the future because they're going to have these bespoke demands of you because you have scaled them to a point where now they want more and more. And this is where you then might become even more specialist, because you say, well, we no longer work with that industry because they have all these specific requirements that just causes a headache.